WO Horde Idol. This is the story of MK15156. This is the story of Wonder minus FF. This is the story of Black Ninja Cheese. This is the story of YXX-M_X. This is the story of Matt the Ghost. This is the story of Cookie Wookie 527. This is the story of Rocky PB Boy. This is the story of Goody Goofer. This is the story of Swamp. The story of Mr. Coolman. This is the story of Kredit. This is the story of Pop-Tart Strangler. This is the story of equals sign open brackets O period W period and close brackets equals sign L kernel. This is the story of Dark Skater 76. This is the story of the Mackerel King. This is the story of Mr. Happy Sad Clown. This is the story of G-Berry 279. This is the story of Good Stocking. This is the story of Proof. This is the story of Justin Hopper. This is the story of a girl and of Andy. Now what you must understand is that the reason Andy did all of this was that he was lonely. He longed for comfort. He longed for companionship. As such, he chose one of the girl's many names and began to call himself that, thinking that perhaps if he was her, he would receive the companionship that she had once had. And he chose the name Kredit to be his new name. And now he was Kredit. And that is Kredit spelled K-R-E-D-I-T. And Kredit is Andy. And Andy is Kredit. And Kredit is coming for all of us. For Kredit only desires to have companionship because Kredit is lonely. And Kredit will kidnap you, and Kredit will take you, Kredit will skin you, and Kredit, having skinned you, will remove your non-vital organs and non-vital bones, such as your pelvic bone, your pinky fingers. Now the one person that Kredit could not understand the speech patterns of was a person named something that Kredit's creator had just forgotten the name of. But had Kredit's creator not forgotten the name of this person, this joke would have been much more clever. Now then, Kredit. On the matter of Kredit. Kredit was never arrested for the young girl's kidnapping, and although he was accused of murdering her, she could not give any defense, she could not give any prosecution, given that she was not actually murdered. She was still living perfectly fine, and she claimed that it had been of her own desire. He had not kidnapped her. He had helped her run away. They tried to accuse him of helping people run away, but helping people run away is not actually a crime. As such, Kredit was never sent to prison for his crimes. However, he was hated for the rest of his days, and when the girl's younger brother grew up, he broke into Kredit's home, and seeing Kredit laying there, he smiled and said, "Kredit, would you like to play some Team Fortress 2? I bet you'd enjoy that." So Kredit went and played Team Fortress 2, and Kredit met lots of people. And Kredit went, and as he played Team Fortress 2, the little girl's brother snuck up behind Kredit. And as he sat there, with the little girl's brother right behind him, Kredit smiled, for he thought that the world could never get any better. And then it did get better, because that was the moment when the little girl's brother swung with a baseball bat, and the baseball bat crashed into the back of Kredit's head. And the first noise was a crunch, and then a mushing noise, and then a scream as Kredit's head collapsed in. For the first thing that the baseball bat had hit was his hair. That is, assuming Kredit is not bald. If he was bald, the first thing it hit was his skin. However, I think it's safe to say it was his hair. Hitting the hair dulled the sound slightly, but not enough to hide the next noise. This next noise, as one might guess, was the crunch that was referenced earlier. This was the noise of the baseball bat moving through the thin skin on the back of the human head and planting itself in the brain through the skull. Now the actual damage to the skull was only about the size of the tip of a baseball bat, given that a baseball bat had caused the damage. Now if this seems like slightly circular logic, that's wrong, and that's not what circular logic means. You're an idiot. And yes, to any who might be interested, only the tip of a baseball bat had hit the skull, for the little brother did not actually know how to swing a baseball bat, and he did not swing a baseball bat like a scout in Team Fortress 2. Rather, he stabbed with it like someone with a sword, stabbing. So he stabbed Kredit in the back of the head with a baseball bat, and it was then, as the baseball bat crashed through the back of his head, that Kredit truly realized how dead he was. However, Kredit did not die, but instead he thought back on his many long years. He thought back on his days as Andrew. He thought back on his days as Kredit. He thought back on his days as everyone else he had ever been, in all the other situations where he'd kidnapped people, skinned them, and left them alive, and all the other times that he'd stolen their names. For perhaps Andy, or Andrew, or whatever the hell I said his name was, had not actually been named that when he was born, but perhaps stolen that from another victim. Now then, this story is nearing completion, but I must tell you one more thing. It is impossible to play Team Fortress 2 and continue looking over your shoulder at all times, and as such, you must always remember that you may be Kredit, and that there may be the younger brother of a little girl right behind you. Story time is finished, guys. I hope you had a nice day!